A pretty big trade just went down in the NHL just a couple minutes ago. I usually don't upload videos around this time of day, but I wanted to be one of the first people to break the news, so you guys likely are going to be getting 2 uploads today. And this trade seen Mike Hoffman, Cody Donaghy, and a 2020 5th round pick sent to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Mikkel Bodker, Julius Bergman, and a 2020 6th round pick. So now let's take a look at the individual players that were sent to the Ottawa Senators. First, looking at the individual stats of Mikkel Bodker. He was an 8th overall draft pick in the 2008 NHL draft. He's 28 years old, and he puts up pretty decent and consistent numbers throughout his NHL career. His career high was 51 points, and he put up 37 points this most recent season with the San Jose Sharks, and I'm pretty sure that the Ottawa Senators did have to give up the best player in this trade, obviously to make this go down. And obviously with all the news that came out between Hoffman and Karlsson, I don't really want to get into that, as it's something I don't really want to talk about, but obviously you knew that one of those players had to be traded, and it was most likely going to be Mike Hoffman, and this is probably the best deal that the Ottawa Senators could have got for him. The Senators also got in return Julius Bergman, who's 22 years old, and he potentially could develop into something in the NHL. He was a 2nd round draft pick back in 2014, and he's been playing with the San Jose Barracuda of the American Hockey League. He put up 20 points this past season, but it's not looking like he's a very promising prospect that will develop into anything too special. And the Ottawa Senators also got the worst draft pick between the two. They sent away their 5th and got back a 6th, and in my opinion, with the top players in the trade, Hoffman is better, and Bodker is obviously the worst player out of the two, but Hoffman's contract was a lot more, so that did free up some cap space, so that is one plus side, I guess you could say, for the Ottawa Senators making this deal. Now taking a look at what the San Jose Sharks got, obviously Mike Hoffman was the big name, but let's take a little look at Cody Donaghy first. He's also 22 years old. He's currently playing for the Brampton Beast of the ECHL, and he put up 16 points in 54 games this past season. So these are kind of just filler pieces in this trade. The more big names is just Mike Hoffman and Mikkel Bodker, as the other things in the trade don't really mean too much, as obviously when people talk about this trade, they're going to talk about the top players in it and why they were traded. And obviously we all know why Mike Hoffman was traded, but I'm sure the Ottawa Senators wish they didn't really have to trade Mike Hoffman, especially for something like this. And this is another situation where I think teams could have been lowballing them for Mike Hoffman just because of them knowing they had to trade him, and that the Ottawa Senators were going to eventually have to take something. Hoffman was a 5th overall pick back in the 2009 NHL draft. His career high in points was 61 in the 2016-17 season, but he's a guy who can score 30 goals. He's put up 20 goals in the previous 4 seasons. 29 was his highest in 2015-16, but I think he's a guy very capable of scoring 30 goals. He's in his prime, 28 years old, and the San Jose Sharks got a very good player that they can play in the power play, and their offense just keeps getting better and better. They have Joe Pavelski, they now have Mike Hoffman, Evander Kane, Timo Meier, Jonas Donskoy, Joe Thornton, Logan Couture, and then obviously you have Brent Burns and Edward Vlasic. This team really is going all in. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get the goaltending to be able to make it that far. Martin Jones has been very solid for them the past couple seasons, but if all those pieces can come together and Mike Hoffman can mesh well with his new team, the San Jose Sharks are going to be a very dangerous team in the Western Conference next season. So as far as who I think won this trade, I think it's obvious the San Jose Sharks came out with the better package. Mike Hoffman is better than Mikkel Bodker, and in my opinion, I'm a guy who I think whatever team gets the best player usually does win the trade, but obviously in some situations teams are building towards the future and some teams are trying to contend now, and that is kind of a situation we see ourselves in right now when looking at this trade. The Ottawa Senators, it really is looking like they're not going to be competitive and they're really just trying to build towards the future, but they didn't really get many things in return that really can build towards the future. I mean, Bergman could turn out to be something. That 6th round pick most likely won't be, and the San Jose Sharks, who are a team that are trying to compete now, and all their veteran players and their star guys aren't getting any younger. I mean, Pavelski and Couture and Thornton and Burns and Edward Vlasic, all them guys are getting up there in age, and getting Mike Hoffman to go along with Evander Kane, just adding to the firepower of this team, as obviously they are all in right now. They want to win a Stanley Cup with the core that they have, and this trade I think certainly is a step in the right direction for the San Jose Sharks to be competitive and try to compete for a Stanley Cup. If I'm a Senators fan, fan, I'm not too mad at this trade because you had to trade Mike Hoffman, like I said, with all the reports that came out of what happened with Carlson's wife and Hoffman's girlfriend and stuff like that. So obviously you knew the trade was coming. I really did think they could get a little bit more in return than they did, maybe a top draft pick and a decent prospect, but they didn't really get either of those in this trade. But Mikkel Boedker is still a decent player that can play top 6 forward minutes for you, but he certainly isn't a guy that brings the firepower that Mike Hoffman does for the San Jose Sharks now, and it's going to be interesting to see how he meshes with that team, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep up the totals he's been putting up as he scored 20 goals the past 4 seasons. But yeah, if I'm a Senators fan, I'm not too mad over this because you knew it had to happen, and if I'm a San Jose Sharks fan, I'm really excited about this, adding another offensive weapon to a team that really is already filled with them. So that is going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment sections who you guys think won the trade. I obviously gave you my opinion. I think the San Jose Sharks won the trade, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think, and stay tuned for another video that will be coming out later today. I was working on it, and then I seen this alert pop up, and then I really wanted to get this video up quickly. So yeah, like I said, smash the like button on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.